listening to the Digitally Irresistible podcast, where we cover the optimization of digital technologies and irresistible people. Brought to you by iCore. Each episode features someone who sheds a little more light on the ins and outs of delivering a great employee and customer experience that has a measurable impact on the business. And now, here's today's guest. Welcome to another episode of the Digitally Irresistible podcast. I'm your host, Bernie Borges. Today's guest is Katherine Wright. Welcome, Katherine.
Hi, Bernie. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Katherine. Katherine, you are co-founder and senior vice president of customer experience at Energy Texas. Energy Texas is a retail electricity provider serving the ERCOT market, where Texas is deregulated and the consumer has choice over their electricity provider. Energy Texas was founded by industry veterans, one of which is you, and Energy Texas offers fellow Texans competitive pricing and innovative products and programs. On this episode, Katherine, let's unpack what you mean by you want your customers to use less of what we sell. But first, Katherine, let's begin with your backstory. Tell us your backstory. How did you get to where you are today?
Well, Bernie, I'm a serial entrepreneur, having co-founded and exited a few businesses. I'm currently a co-founder and SVP of customer experience at Energy Texas, which, as you mentioned, is a retail electricity provider in Texas. This isn't exactly my first rodeo, though, as I also co-founded Bounce Energy in 2008, which we sold to a large competitor, Direct Energy, in 2013. Here at Energy Texas, I wear multiple hats in my operational role, but my favorite is to create meaningful relationships with our customers by doing things a little differently than the traditional utility, as well as the big guys in our deregulated market. We've built our own tech, and I've largely led that effort. It's played a huge role in creating the flexibility we possess to do things differently in our arena. Beyond that, I am a married mother of 4 and an enthusiastic traveler whenever I can find the time.
Fantastic. Well, you have a perfect background for where you are today. So, Katherine, let's get right to it. On your website and in your messaging, you say that you want your customers to use less of what you sell. Now, that doesn't sound intuitive. So please explain what you mean by that.
Sure. And yes, that's right. We do. We do want our customers to use less of what we sell. But let me back up for just a minute and talk about the Texas deregulated market for those who aren't familiar. Texas officially deregulated about 20 years ago, and about 85% of the state is deregulated. So cities like Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, and a lot of West Texas are the biggest areas of deregulation, whereas the cities like San Antonio and Austin are still regulated. So the existing utilities who were in place prior to deregulation are still operational, and essentially they manage the infrastructure and the poles and wires and read the meters. Whereas the deregulated retail electricity providers, which is what we are, another word is rep, we actually manage the customer. So everything from acquisition, pricing, billing, disconnections, we actually own the relationship with the customer. Apart from, maybe a power outage, the customer will contact us directly and not the utility. So if you were to look at all the reps in Texas, you'd see 40 plus reps out there looking to acquire customers. However, what the average customer doesn't really know is that these 40 plus brands, a large portion of them are owned by several large, let's call them, big energy guys. And so the true, independents out there aren't really that many. And so as you and I both stated a few minutes ago, I'm one of the founders. We founded Energy Texas in May of 2021. I'm sure most everyone remembers February of 2021 and Winter Storm Uri and all that happened there. That storm caused a lot of disruption in the market, and some retail electricity providers who were underfunded ended up going defunct or selling their customers at a significant discount to one of the big guys I mentioned earlier. And so my fellow co-founders and we saw an opportunity to enter the market and provide innovative, creative products to our customers. One of the things here is because customers do have choice, many of our competitors don't want the customer to think about them. They want them to sign up for a contract. And when it comes time to renew, they want them to essentially just kind of be asleep. and just stay with them at a higher month-to-month rate and hopefully never wake up. Or if the customer does wake up and calls and complains, they put them on a lower rate and then essentially rinse and repeat. There's also a bunch of sneaky pricing games being played where the average consumer really needs to read the fine print to find out, how exactly to make that special deal work for them. And typically it's not as good as it's advertised. So the net here at Energy Texas is we think customers deserve better than that. We think pricing should be clear cut, communication should be simple, and customer service should be excellent and easy. We call it excellent customer service.
Excellent customer service. Yes. I was going to call that out if you didn't, but I'm not surprised that you called it out. Let me tell you, your website is fantastic. It is beautiful. It is easy to read. And the customer service aspect of it is front and center. So let's get into some of the programs that you offer. There's 4 programs that I've asked you to talk about. And the first one is the Peak Perks program. What's that about?
Sure. So our Peak Perks program, it's essentially our demand response program, but it's also part of our rewards program. So it's completely optional to the customer. But what the customer can do when they sign up, or they can enroll at any time, but they can sign up to be a part of this program. And essentially during high demand events, so for example, an extreme weather event where there's concern about stress on the grid. Again, we all have PTSD from Winter Storm Uri. But if we think that there's going to be a strain on the grid, we ask customers who are signed up for that program to reduce their consumption. And so if they're able to reduce their consumption by 10% from a similar time period in the past, then they'll receive a 10% discount off of their energy charge on the bill. So we notify customers via email, alerts in their online My Account, text messages that we're calling this event. And we also give them tips and helpful insights in ways to reduce their usage that are seasonally appropriate, weather appropriate, et cetera. So the net is customers can get a bill credit for using less, and we help them do so by giving them easy to follow tips and steps.
Again, very customer centric. Another aspect of your website that I'm just going to brag about for you, Katherine, is the voice, the Texas voice. Things like renewable energy ain't going anywhere, y'all. And so I love that Texas voice. And this next program is using that Texas voice, and that is the Giddy Up Guarantee program. What's that about?
Yeah, no, I've just one thing quickly on the website. I mean, Texans are very, very proud of their state and our whole mantra. So, I mean, we're very big on, Texans serving Texans and, being proud Texans in our market. So our next program is called our Giddy Up Guarantee. And it's actually a really, really neat program. I don't think there's anything like this in the ERCOT market. So this program allows us to offer custom discounts to customers based on their actual usage. So let me back up and explain essentially how it works. So if you look on our website right now, obviously you see different rates. And these rates are generic rates based on the average consumer. So some folks are super, super energy efficient, right? They may have solar panels and they may be smart appliances, smart thermostats, energy efficient windows, all of the things. Well, there's other guys out there who are the opposite. We call them the energy hogs, right? They have pools. It's 68 degrees in their house constantly. And so you've got essentially a mix of customers that you have to price. The vast majority of the meters in Texas are now smart meters. So it means that essentially all the meter reads are done electronically. There's no more technicians going out and reading meters and at someone's house. So the other neat thing about the smart meters is that we get essentially real-time and historical data on that meter. So when someone becomes a customer, we're able to look at their actual historical usage. And if we like essentially what we see, they're more on the energy efficient side and less on the energy hog side, we're able to offer them an additional discount based on their actual usage. So we shoot that customer an email and we say, congrats. We're able to offer you X percentage off of your rate. And if they accept that discount and they get a bill credit for that on their bill for the life of their contract with us. So it's pretty cool. And it's definitely a way that we're differentiating ourselves
Hmm.
and that we're passing, additional discounts to the customer.
Yeah. Well, you hit on the differentiation aspect, and I think that that's key. And I think your next program is just another example of that, the Freedom Flex program. Why don't you explain that?
Sure. So here in Texas, when a customer signs up with a retail electricity provider, they essentially have two options. They can go on a month-to-month plan, which you have no contracts, no obligations. However, your rate can change on a monthly basis. Or you can lock in to a guaranteed rate, like a contract essentially, with a guaranteed rate for a specific amount of time. So both options have pluses and minuses. So on a month-to-month plan, if prices are super low, you're great. But if something happens, volatility in the market and prices go up, your rate will go up too. However, if you're on a contract and you locked in when prices were higher and then prices go lower, you're more than likely paying that higher term, that higher rate, for a longer amount of time. If you break your contract, then you're going to be assessed an early termination fee. So our Freedom Flex program kind of bridges the gap. So customers can subscribe to this program for a nominal monthly fee, and then they can review essentially real-time pricing in their online My Account or over the phone with a customer care agent whenever they want to. And so if they find a contract or a rate that they prefer, they can end their existing contract and start a new contract with a new term once every 30 days. So it gives the customer some flexibility. Now, I will say it's not necessarily always going to be lower. If for example, if the customer, signed up at a very, very low rate and prices are creeping up, the customer may want to change their rate to a slightly higher rate now versus, finishing out their contract at a lower rate. And then when their contract expires, going dramatically higher. So, it's not necessarily you're always going to get a lower rate, but it just gives you flexibility to be able to take a look at market conditions and see what you want to do. So it
Well,
doesn't, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the name Freedom Flex. And to your point, it does provide a lot of flexibility to the consumer. So I think it's very creative and very innovative.
Yes, it doesn't necessarily help the customer use less of what we sell, but it definitely gives them the opportunity to have some control over their rate and thus their bill.
Gotcha. So the next one is the solar buyback program, and I think this is my favorite one. But I'll let you explain, and then I'll tell you why it's my favorite.
This one also has a fun name. It's called our San Jacinto Solar Buyback Program. It's a little niche because you need to have solar panels on your roof, which I don't, but it has gotten a great response. So for customers, Energy Texas will buy back any excess generation from the customer at the customer's existing energy rate. So the customer will receive a credit on their bill, again, at the energy rate that they're currently paying. So, for example, if a customer puts 1,000 excess kilowatt hours back on the grid and has an energy rate of 5 cents, they'll get a $50 bill credit. So credits are automatically applied to the customer's bill, and they can accumulate over time, and they do not expire. So most of the other guys who have a similar program, they're buying back at a lower energy rate, and they definitely have expiration dates on their credits. So our program, as I said, it matches the energy rate, and we don't expire our credit. So it's a really, really good deal for the customer, and it allows the customer who has solar panels and has made that investment to basically earn an additional return on their solar panels.
Yeah. So what I love about this program, Catherine, is that the consumer in this case with solar panels, they're not just a consumer of energy, they're a producer of energy.
Yep.
And they have an opportunity to actually have some of that energy purchased from them. And you gave the example of, $50 credit in that example. So love that. That is terrific. So for very creative, very innovative programs, thank you for explaining them. Catherine, I want to shift gears and ask you about the customer experience for Energy Texas customers. With these innovative programs, What are you experiencing in the delivery of customer service and customer support with your customer base?
I mean, our mantra here in especially in our customer service world is that we want to treat our customers how we want to be treated. And part of that is making things as easy for the customer as possible. So, I mean, we encourage self-service in all aspects, and, everything that the customer can call us on, essentially, they can do themselves in their online portal. Additionally, we also have an app that the customer can use as well that mirrors our online portal. So we want to make it as easy, as hassle-free. I mean, we've all been on hold with, other utilities or, telephony companies and things like that, where you're on hold for forever. And, I mean, it's a miserable experience. And that is, I mean, we say excellent customer service for a reason. And, that's our promise to our customers.
That is excellent. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Katherine, before we get to the final fun question, where would you like to send our viewers or listeners to learn more about Energy Texas?
Sure. EnergyTexas.com is a great starting spot. We also are on Instagram and Facebook at Energy Texas Co.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Well, now we do get to the fun question. And, we have this tradition here on the Digitally Irresistible podcast. We want to know, Katherine, when you're not working, what do you like to do for fun?
Okay. Well, Bernie, bear in mind, I have 4 children and I work full time. So fun is limited. But as I said in my backstory, we like to travel a lot. We just got back from a trip to England and Scotland over Christmas. We walked miles. My children complained. We did go to a Premier League game, which was super fun. We ate haggis. But it's honestly important to me that my children understand and appreciate other cultures and absorb new experiences. While I do love a European vacation, during the times of COVID, we started taking road trips, which honestly, I never, ever thought I would ever be wanting to do, but we did. And we enjoyed them very much. We started taking the children to all of the national parks, which I highly, highly recommend. They're amazing. Our plan for this summer is to fly to Boston and do a New England-ish road trip. We're going to try and go to Maine and Montreal, squeeze all that in. We're still in the planning stages, so we'll see. But that's a big part of what we do for fun as a family. Personally, I'm a Pilates machine. I very much enjoy Pilates. It keeps me sane. So that's a big one. And then the complete opposite, I'm a giant foodie. So if I can eat all the things, I'll do that too.
Well, you get to enjoy the food and then burn it off with Pilates, as well as all the road work that you're doing with the family. That is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Katherine. And thank you for sharing your story at Energy Texas. I love the innovation of these 4 programs that you shared with us today: the Peak Perch program, the Giddy Up Guarantee program, the Freedom Flex program, and then, of course, the Solar Buyback program, and then your commitment to customer experience, customer excellence. In fact, excellent customer service. Thank you so much for sharing it on this episode of the Digitally Irresistible podcast. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Digitally Irresistible podcast, where we cover the optimization of digital technologies and irresistible people, delivering a great employee and customer experience that has a measurable impact on the business. Brought to you by iCore. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast player so you don't miss future episodes.